3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Hey everyone, it's Charlie from CJR Suspension.
Casey with Barnes Motorsports.
And we're here today with Spec Moto to do another one of the tech spec videos. Today we got to head up to the Wild Rose motocross track here in Calgary and take the new Triumph TF250X out for a rip. It was a pretty sweet day. We're all finished up here back at the shop and definitely had a great time. Overall, the track today was pretty good. They had some good moisture in it. We had some decent ruts. It wasn't crazy rough, but it was a good track to get a good first impression of it. Going along with this bike, we did bring an Austrian brand new 2024 250F, so we had a solid comparison to go with it. So yeah, let's get into it. Starting off, a lot of people probably care mostly about the motor on a 250F. It's a big deal in that class to have good power. Everything else kind of can be made up for a little bit easier, but power is king in the 250 class. So compared to the other bike, what'd you think of the motor?
It's super smooth. Like, the power to the ground was awesome. It had a ton of like low mid-range power compared to the Austrian bike, but the delivery was there. It was when you needed it, you had the power on the ground. We had some deep soil today, and it powered out of those corners and those ruts really, really well. I found I was shifting it a little bit more than the Austrian one, but the Austrians rev to the moon, so there's no worries there. Overall, the power was amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I would say comparing the two bikes, this definitely has a bit more like a low to mid power character. It pulls out of the corner with a little more authority than the other bike, but did sign off a little bit sooner. Another pro with the motor on this bike was the mapping is very clean. We tried both maps today and there was no hiccups or hesitations, anything like that. So runs super clean, solid, had no issues whatsoever. We have almost 2 hours on the bike from break-in day here. So all good positive things on the motor side of things. My main takeaway was like it's definitely competitive with any other 250F that's on the showroom floor, and that's pretty impressive for a first-year bike. Moving on to the chassis and suspension side of things, one of the most unique parts of the Triumph is they use an aluminum frame construction, but it's the design of their aluminum frame that's different than all the Japanese bikes that run a perimeter style frame. The Triumph runs a backbone style frame similar to the Austrian bike that uses steel construction for their design though. So it's kind of a blend between everything that's available on the market. My personal opinion is the bike was super stable, felt really planted. I was really happy with it. Did you have any feelings on the suspension and chassis?
Cornered amazing. Like, that bike stuck to the ground. I definitely noticed the aluminum frame being a little bit stiffer than the Austrian frame coming into some of the corners. But once you got into the corners, this bike was planted. It felt solid in the high-speed stuff. Like, I had no complaints. It was a really, really fun bike to ride.
Yeah, and we were able to get the sag set pretty close for us. We're definitely a little bit on the bigger side for 250Fs. One nice thing, like, just in general, all the components on the Triumph bike is really high quality stuff. Going along with that is the KYB suspension, which is pretty much class leading components for the feel. And it definitely felt great. Like, it's a little bit more of like a performance based setting, I would say. It's got a firm overall feel to it, but it still was comfortable. There was not anything too crazy for big bumps today, but the small chatter and stuff, it did take it well, and the bike was really settled. So yeah, the chassis and handling of the bike was great. That was probably its biggest strength over the other bike that we had out today. It was just a little more planted, stable feeling. It was a little more predictable. So yeah, it was really great. And speaking of quality components, it comes with the Brembo brakes, which are
Top class. The bike's stopping power was amazing. Like, we had some really high speed sections coming into some tight corners, and we had no issues coming to a stop. The brakes felt awesome. There were a really good feel to them. They didn't feel like brand new brakes. Like, they felt like they had been ridden before, which I really liked. I hate when a brake is new. So I really had no complaints there either.
Yeah. So top quality components. Another big pro of the bike in general was sitting on it, taking off across the parking lot, hitting the track, like every step along the way, it doesn't feel like a first year bike. It feels like it fits right along with everything else that's on the market. The seat to foot peg to handlebar, the rider triangle is all very comfortable and very normal feeling. The shifter position was fine. The brake pedal height was fine. Everything was really good. Like it wasn't anything that stood out like a sore thumb on like it being a first year different manufactured bike. Overall, like, yeah, great. We do have a couple little pros and cons. Under the pros list, we wrote really good power, overall competitive with everything else on the market. So that was awesome. Great chassis and suspension. Bike handled really well. And again, it feels like a quality bike that is not a first year model. A couple things on the cons list that we have.
Bike comes with a 100 width tire on the back end. Really noticeable, especially in the deeper dirt. We all prefer a 110. The bike is slightly stiff too. It does feel stiffer than some of the Austrian bikes, just in the chatter and the kind of light bumps and stuff. And Charlie and I are a little bit taller, so we both noticed that the shrouds, our knees were catching the shrouds a little bit on where the tank and the shroud meet, which not a terrible thing, not a great thing. And then another kind of con is it's all Torx heads. There's not a lot of bolts on this bike. There's a lot of Torx heads, which isn't a problem, but
it's just going to be an adjustment for owners that are coming off a Japanese or an Austrian bike. And yeah, like Casey said, the 100 width rear tire, they're not the only manufacturer doing this. The Honda also comes with the 100 width Pirelli tires, which are really lightweight. I think you save over a pound and a half compared to some of the other tire brands on the market. And it does spool up a little quicker. Like you have a light rev feel with the lightweight tire, but it definitely, today there was some transitions where the soil was prepped really nice, but then you get up onto the hard pack jump face and there's that kind of transition between the tacky soil to the hard pack, and it definitely wasn't as planted as the Dunlop on the Austrian bike that we had out with it today. So nothing too major, easy fix when you do come time to put on new tires. You just swap out with your preference, and same with everything else, like the creature comforts of the bike, bar position. I personally would probably run a little bit taller handlebar for myself, but that's again just being a bit of a taller rider. Like any kind of creature comfort thing that you would do on any other manufacturer, you'd probably be looking to set it up and personalize it to yourself. Closing things out, like again, thanks so much to Barnes Motorsports. It's awesome to be able to have a dealer with so many options here in town that is willing to do things like this. Let us try a brand new bike out that not many people have had a chance to take out. So that was great. Overall, great bike. We both had a ton of fun coming off something that we know is a tried and true bike that is proven. It's just as competitive with anything else that we've ridden in the 250 class. So it was great. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll definitely see more tech spec videos coming out, and we'll catch you on the next one.